Welcome everybody this evening to the regularly scheduled Town Council meeting of Monday, December 6th at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. And would we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to amend the agenda to add item 3A, an update from Charles Brown from the Central Connecticut Health District.
Second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Very good. At this point, we'll entertain comments from the public. This is where any member of the public can approach the podium and state their name and address from town and have 2 minutes to speak. Are there any public comments? Zoom queue? We're all set. No comments from public this evening, so we will move to our, do we have our Zoom guest in? Oh, no, appointments and resignations. I will look to Councilor Duff for any appointments or resignations.
We do not have any tonight.
All right, thank you. And then I will look to Councilor Lee. Brown is available for the Zoom. Great, Charlie. Thank you.
Do we hear?
I'm not sure if we can we hear in the council chambers? We are still unable to hear in the council chambers.
Test.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
Can you
Charlie
hear me
Brown of the Central Connecticut Health District. Charlie?
Well, thank you for having me tonight. We're seeing cases going up quite steadily among all the state of Connecticut. The difference between last week and this week was quite startling. The majority of the towns are now in the high alert status within the state of Connecticut. Along with the 4 communities in the Central Connecticut Health District, including Rocky Hill. Rocky Hill is currently at 16.7 cases per 100,000 over a 2-week rolling average. The total number of cases as of the 6th today is 2,246. Total number of deaths stands at 134. Vaccination numbers are looking pretty good, in Rocky Hill. Fully vaccinated among the 5 to 11 group is actually starting to come up a little bit. We actually have 26 kids that are fully vaccinated. So some work to be done there, but they just got the green light. So the 12 to 17-year-olds stand at about 65.5% are fully vaccinated. 18 to 24, 76%. The 25 to 44 group at 83.7%. The 45 to 64 at 77.9%. And the 65, the seniors are really leading the way at 98.7%. So, as I mentioned, we are seeing a bit of a surge now. And it's being driven majority by the Delta variant at this time. We are seeing cases rise pretty exponentially as we move forward. And a lot of this is being driven by household contacts and by, once again, get-togethers over the holidays. Thanksgiving is what we're actually seeing right now, the results of transmission over this Thanksgiving holiday. We do have, as of Saturday, the new Omicron variant that's in the state of Connecticut and Hartford County. Omicron right now is a variant of concern, though the more we're learning about it, it may not be as severe or more severe than the current Delta strain that's out there, but it does seem to spread more rapidly. So, we're keeping an eye on that as we move forward. With that, just a reminder to everyone, The 3 Ws are still very much evident right now. They work. So remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, and watch your distance. If you haven't been vaccinated, please do so. If you haven't been boosted, please take the time to get boosted. Now is definitely the time to take advantage of all of the prevention methods that we can use to be able to hold the numbers down. As it gets colder, we have an opportunity to be able to get a little closer with our loved ones, and we really don't want to continue to spread this particular disease. That's not the type of present that you want to give to anybody that you love. And with that, I stand ready to answer any questions.
Charlie, thanks for piping in and giving us that update. We're all concerned with the holidays upon us already, and the governor did make an announcement, feeling confident somewhat that the newest strain he is driving infection, but maybe not as serious. Charlie?
Yeah, and that is the one saving grace with respect to this. Is you can have a new strain, it can spread very rapidly, but it may not end up being more more serious than a serious cold. But we just don't know as of right now. The best strategy, once again, is prevention. So don't be complacent, thinking, oh, this may not be a big deal because of what they're saying right now. The prime strain that right now is spreading is still the Delta variant. So, we do know that one has, put quite a few people in the hospital, especially recently, as we see some of the vaccination protection that we've had start to wane over that 4 to 6 month period. So we have seen quite a few people that have ended up in the hospital that were fully vaccinated but not boosted. So it becomes very important, once again, to get the booster if you have the opportunity to do so.
Sure. You might notice that the mayor is absent this evening, and that's due to the fact that she did go for her booster this evening and just feeling a tad under the weather, so she stayed home, but she's doing fine.
Good deal.
So the other towns you mentioned are in a similar level as Rocky Hill, or?
Right now, Rocky Hill is at the lowest out of the 4 towns. Give me 1 second, and I can give you the numbers exactly where we stand. So Rocky Hill is at 16.7 cases per 100,000. If you go up to Wethersfield, they're at 26.9 cases per 100,000. Newington's at 19.8, and Berlin is at 21.7 per 100,000. So, the map used to look a lot better than it does today. Right now it just looks like a almost complete red across the board. So we really do have to remain vigilant, masking where it's appropriate, because, as I've mentioned, people really need to take some personal responsibility, really think about their own risk, because they may not have been vaccinated recently, and if they haven't had a booster, bringing that mask out and wearing it in public situations is probably a very smart thing to do at this time, because once again, we're finding that the vaccination is waning, and this is part of that learning process, and it's waning in that 4 to 6 month range. So if it's been 4 to 6 months since you had your last shot, you should be looking at the opportunity to get your booster when you're available.
Okay, thank you. Can you confirm that there are is the district as a whole or separately by town taking different actions? Are we in a status quo as far as there's no mandates or anything? Nothing's changing there yet, right?
No, there's no mask mandates in any of our towns at this point. I know that Newington has tightened up their restrictions on town hall. So, as you start to see cases rise, these are the types of actions that you want to look at. Within the town hall, mandating masks could probably be a good idea at this point, considering that all the towns are back in the red, and we are seeing a number of cases, rise each day. Within the last 3 days in Rocky Hill, we've seen over 40 cases. Every day as we come in to do contact tracing, here in the last, 2 or 3 days, we've seen upwards of 60 to 100 cases per day over the 4 towns that we see. And that was down, here a couple of weeks ago before Thanksgiving. We had it down to maybe 10 or 12 per day. So, the numbers are increasing, and they're increasing exponentially. So we're not through this thing yet. I really think that we're probably going to see continued rise in cases through the turn of the year, and hopefully, things will start heading down at that point. This is the time of the year that we get together to celebrate, and unfortunately, we do bring along unwelcome gifts at that time.
Sure. One quick question a last final question before I open it up to the other counselors. Are the senior centers open, and are meetings in person still going on as a district-wide?
I think it's a little different based upon the town. Once again, it based upon what their plans are for when the alert level changes. I know that Newington becomes a little bit more restrictive in their meeting. What they allow. So the senior centers, I think, provide individual services, but they're not allowing recreational bingo and cards and things of that nature. Just because that particular population is much more at risk, especially as their immunity may wane from their initial vaccinations. So I think that every town at this point should be looking very critically at the things that they allow in person. And it should definitely be, if you're in person, the default should be the fact that you're wearing a mask.
Sure. So I'll ask the counselors if they have questions, and I'll start with Mimi Thoreau, if you're interested.
I think you probably covered a lot of things I had questions about.
Sure. Counselor O'Sullivan?
I'm set, thank you.
Counselor Duff?
Yep. I have a couple questions I hope to be pretty quick. The first one is, do we have enough data yet on the flu shot mix to know how well that's lining up with the current strains?
Not enough at this point. We've seen maybe, I think, 5 or 6 cases within the district at this point. Which is about 5 or 6 times the amount that we saw last year. So the flu season's really just begun to start ramping up. So we really don't know if it's going to be a good match at this point. I can say most of the what we've seen has been H3N2, and that has been included in the quadrivalent formula for the shot.
When you gave the stats on the different vaccination rates by population, it was good news that our 65 and up was, I think you said over 98%. But
Yep.
With the vaccination waning after 4 to 6 months, is there anything that's changed in terms of? I imagine most of those folks have been boosted, but do we need to do anything different in terms of our approach to make sure that vaccination rate keeps up for the most vulnerable population?
No, I think that, once again, encouraging our seniors to get boosted now if they have not done so yet, or when they get the opportunity to do so 6 months after their second shot. I think it's imperative that they get boosted because what we're seeing in the hospitalization rate is a lot of older people that had been vaccinated. There are breakthrough cases there. Above and beyond, what we would expect. So, the need for a booster is absolutely there. There are definitely opportunities to get vaccinated, to get that shot, and I encourage everyone that has the opportunity to do so to do so.
And the last question I had was, you'd mentioned a lot of what we're seeing is Thanksgiving transmission, which I think unfortunately makes sense. Probably people could, we have other holidays coming up, of course. Probably the number one thing people could do would try to shrink the list, but I know it's a really hard ask, especially people coming in from out of town. So are there steps that you would recommend that people take to help keep those gatherings more safe that they could do to mitigate whatever risk is there?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things, once again, making sure your vaccination test is a key. Second, the test prior to those types of gatherings, especially if you're going to have vulnerable people there, to make sure that those who are coming to the event are negative close to the time at that point. It's not 100%, but it does help to give you that peace of mind to know that you're negative going in there. Those are things, and there are over the counter tests now that can be done at home for 15 minutes that will provide you that type of peace of mind. So, those testing opportunities I think is important. And, once again, if you're in close contact and you can't take advantage of any of those things, do the basic stuff, being able to maybe keep your distance a little bit and wear a mask. I mean, those things are still going to protect you and protect others as well.
And sorry, I know I said that was the last one, but you raised something I wasn't thinking about. You mentioned there's an over-the-counter test now. Where do people get those, and how much do they cost? And is it like the same thing at the drive-through? How does that work? It's
a little different as far as that's concerned. Cost varies. I've seen them from $25 to $40 for a 2-pack. It's the same basic swab type of thing or saliva test. There's a couple different varieties, and I know that the pharmacies, I know Walgreens has had those, so you can actually call and inquire, and they can tell you whether or not they have it before showing up.
Thank you.
Councilor Prakash?
I'm good, Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Sure. Councilor Greenspan?
No questions at this time.
Councilor Levine?
No other questions, thank you.
Councilor Malero?
My question is more of just curiosity on the numbers that we're seeing. I know they're increasing. Just out of curiosity, is there any data based on the numbers, based on what's actually the flu versus COVID at the hospitals?
No, we don't have the numbers right now. I mean, I could pick up and look and potentially see how many flu cases they have that are hospitalized. We're not seeing a high number of flu yet. I can tell you that much. So the majority of people in the ER at this point are COVID related. It's really not flu at this point. I think flu is probably going to pick up here, once again, as we start to see spread from being indoors. We've seen a little bit more flu. Hasn't seen it to the numbers that we have in the past, but hopefully we won't. I mean, I still have, once again, I have the public health professionals' pessimism. So trying to be able to make sure that if you haven't gotten your flu shot, do that as well. This is not a time, this is not a year to really go without the vaccinations that we can really use to protect everyone in our communities.
Thank you.
Staff, John, do you have any questions for the Health District?
No, I don't.
Okay, great. Thank you, Charlie.
You're
Much
welcome.
appreciated.
Y'all stay safe and healthy for me, please.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
At this point, I'd like to call for the approval of the minutes from the Town Council special meeting November 8th.
I'll make a motion to approve the town council special meeting November 8th minutes.
I'll
Do I hear a second? Yep.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. They pass. The Town Council meeting November 15th.
I'll make a motion to approve the town council meeting for November 15th.
And I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes have passed. Now we're on to subcommittee reports. Finance.
No meeting since the last council meeting. Our next meeting is the 16th at 6 p.m.
Government operations.
Government operations met earlier this evening. I'll just try to hit some of the highlights here. With regards to Fire Station 3, the old generator room was closed in with extra bricks from the Senior Community Center project that were left over and were nearly a perfect match, so that saved some money on that part of the generator project. There's some window replacements that have been completed, and the roof replacement started on the 29th of November. It's about 90% complete and should hopefully be done later this week. The West Hill HVAC project, most of it was done during the Columbus Day weekend. There's some testing that needs to be done, and then maybe some necessary adjustments after the testing. Phase 2 of, we received money in Phase 2 from the ESA 2 grant of about $712,000 from the state. That pays the balance of that project after we used some surplus money from the Board of Ed last year to pay for the first part of the project. So that all worked out pretty well from a finance standpoint. The Rock Hill High School renovated new project, still waiting for an audit from the state. But for Mosier School, the state finished the change order reviews and will be returning any money beyond the 11% retainage to us shortly. We're not sure the exact amount of that, but we should get that money soon. The Grizzled Middle School roofing, it's starting to look into that, as it looks like that's something that maybe need to be done fairly soon. Hopefully what we can do is treat it similar to how we did Stevens Roof, where the town puts up the money for the project and then we apply it and receive a grant from the state to recover somewhere around 46% of the costs of that project. Lastly, the senior / community center, I think we talked about there's a sanitation pipe issue. What they will be doing is, and what that sanitation pipe issue is leading to the closing of 2 bathrooms right now in the facility. They went out to CROG for bidding, as the current contractor for the senior community center could not commit to doing the work during Christmas break, which we want to have done so it doesn't disrupt preschool and things of that nature. So they did get a group from I think from bidding through CROG to do the work. They will start on 12/20. Most of the disruptive work will be done before preschool resumes, and full completion they hope to have done mid to late January. A lot of that's based on when they can get the materials, as there's been shortages and various things for that. And lastly, the ramp area behind the game room has been closed. They're still waiting for railings to come in. The hope is they get them mid-December. We're hopefully get an update on that, but they get mid-December. Hopefully they'll be in pretty soon, and then they could open the game room and the ramp up accordingly. So that's it.
Just a quick question, but any way to put a temporary railing up until the railings come in?
Yeah, I don't. John,
Not really.
Not really?
No. By the time you get them back, get them up, the railings will come in.
Yeah, at this point, hopefully it's
Okay.
within a week we're talking. So.
Okay. Senior,
Completion, yeah.
thank you. Senior liaison?
Public safety.
Public safety, excuse me. Want to do public safety, Prakash?
I don't think
No
we had-
meeting.
No meeting, yeah. We had no meeting, and our next meeting is
20th?
the next
20th?
20th. Yes, thank you.
At 5:30.
At
Okay.
5:30.
Great. Senior liaison?
Also, no meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 27th at 5 p.m.
Okay, great. Land acquisition and farmland preservation?
We did meet on the 2nd last week, and there were several topics. One main topic was with regards to UConn presenting their proposal. We initially met them that day and had a wonderful discussion based on how the proposal is laid out, what they would do for us based on Parcel B.
Parcel B.
And we had some great opportunities to share some thoughts. Based on next steps, we're gonna feed as much information as possible to them so they can start formulating their assessments. And they do have a timeline, a milestone timeline that they presented to us. And there'll be more to come based on that committee there. Second topic we also discussed was the approval to add to the consent agenda, the approval of the authorization to release the escrow funds for Skraska Farm. We had an escrow during the closing of about $500,000, and at that point, the decision was that $84,116 of it was used to clean up debris and farm equipment, barrels, and so forth. So, and that'll be more discussed during the consent agenda.
No. No, what happened is, as John said, there were $500,000 withheld at the sales, at the purchasing and sales agreement, on the sales agreement. And it was money that was used to clean up anything above the ground. And in the beginning of it, there was probably hundreds of items that needed to be cleared out. We hired a local contractor through the bidding process. And he came in, cleaned it up, and pretty much completed everything. So, and as John said, it cost us $84,000, and we need to return the remaining monies of about $415,000 to the seller because the property has been cleaned above the ground. So on the consent agenda is just a resolution authorizing the town manager to tell our attorney to return the funds that he's held.
So the 84,000 came out of the seller's 500,000 retainage,
Yep.
and now you're returning that because that phase is over. And luckily, the 800,000 bond money from the state, the grant from the state is, not bond, grant is coming in, and that'll finish the demolition and other
Now we go
pollutant
below
cleanup,
ground, cleaning up the soil.
cleaning up the soil.
As the buildings and
Yep. So
other
that's a
structures.
different pool of funds. It's not the funds we're
Structures.
releasing back.
Structure related.
Yep.
And just, because I know there's a lot of questions about this, the money that we could use that holdback for was limited to the scope of what was purchased as part of the referendum. So that would be the debris that was above ground, not not pulling anything up from underneath the ground and not demolishing the house. Because I think people have questions on what could it be used for, what couldn't it be used for. So that's why we consulted, as far as I understand it, John, correct me if I'm wrong, we consulted with our representation and also Zuvik to make sure that we could use as much of that money as possible within the bounds of what the referendum allowed, and the rest will be covered, as Ed mentioned, through other funding sources. That's a correct statement?
Yes.
Thanks.
Councilor O'Sullivan?
Have there been any communications from Mr. Straska about the proposed holdback of $84,000 or $85,000 of the money?
I'll defer to staff. There have been requests for the release.
Through his attorneys.
Well, that's kind of what I meant. Do you anticipate any pushback on that?
Pushback?
Well, by the attorney, any challenge or anything on the?
No, they're challenging where that we should have returned the money sooner.
Okay, sooner, but not on not an issue with the amounts, though. Okay, that's good. Thank you. So actually, Councilor Duff already kind of mentioned this. I had that question about why can't we use the money for demolition of the structure, and is there we consulted our attorneys probably on this, right?
The way the purchase and sales agreement was written, that $500,000 was withheld for cleaning up equipment. We couldn't use the money to do anything affecting structures.
Okay.
And when you remember driving by it,
I drive by
we
there.
wondered if $500,000 was enough, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the most overarching question for everyone. But anyways, thank you.
And so one just little addition, John. The town could have started to remove the farmhouse in early October, but with the advent of the grant coming our way for the $800,000, we then needed to time that out a little bit. That's why it's still standing, because we are meeting the obligations of the funding first.
right. And under the grant, we really can't spend any money until the state approves it. So it's in the hands of the attorneys, and there was a dozen or so documents that needed to be done. I think we're down to one. And then once we sign it and the state sign it, then they send it to the Attorney General's office for the third sign. And once he signs off, then we can move forward with bringing Zuvik in and getting that house removed. But until we get the signed agreement with the state, we're sort of on hold, unless we want to shell the money out ourselves. But then we might as well be a little patient with the state.
The house is sealed, it is off limits, and it has a lot of lead in it, so we don't want anybody attempting to make entry into that, to look for souvenirs or anything like that. Liaison to the state rep and state senator, there's no report this evening. School liaison.
No meeting, no report. Thank you.
Capital Improvements Committee.
No meeting, no report.
And the Economic Development Committee.
No meeting, no report, but we do have a meeting scheduled for the 14th of December at 5:30, and that'll be a Zoom meeting to discuss some of the grant applications that we received from local businesses or nonprofits for use of our ARP funds that were set aside.
Thank you. And now we turn to the consent agenda. A, approval of the 2022 Town Council meeting schedule. That's in the packet.
Deputy Mayor Sherman, I'll just make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted, A and B.
Perfect. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
There is none.
Can't discuss.
Okay.
Here's what I found on the web.
Oh, she has something to say, though.
About the consent
Siri has
agenda?
something to say.
Do we have to vote?
We do have to vote.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda is approved. Old business. A, overview Commission on Inclusion and Innovation. And again, I will say that and Dana's here to help us with that, kick this off. Very excited for this announcement and presentation this evening. The mayor is, as we stated earlier, under the weather because of her booster shot, and is I'm sure at home very upset not to be here to assist in this process. I know it's very important to her and to you, Dana, and to all the other counselors that worked on the commission. But having said that, Dana?
Thank you. Let's see. I'm going to ask that we bring the screen down. Good evening, counselors. How are you? Good to see you, sir.
Same here. It's that noise like you have the movie theater.
See if I can bring this a little closer here. How's that? So I can't believe it's been since September of 2020 since we've been planning and developing and researching and discussing this commission. And I am so pleased to be at this point. Before I go any further, Deputy Mayor, I would ask, I would like to make sure that it's okay at the end of this, I do list the names of the folks who have been recommended for appointment.
Please,
Is that
please,
okay?
by all means.
Thank you. Thank you. So first, let's make sure I know how to turn this page here. There we go. Let's begin with a very quick overview of the timeline. Again, we started discussing this in September of 2020. This is a joint vision, a unanimous vision. I am so excited to say this is a unanimous vision of Town Council. Everyone came together and talked about the importance of coming up with this commission, and we'll talk about its purposes and duties in a moment. But you were of one mindset, and thank you for continuing to be of one mindset when it comes to the reasons for creating the commission and what it is you want this commission to do. Essentially, in September of 2020, we announced plans to develop a commission to proactively build intergroup community relationships. And you're going to see just how hard that work really is as I get a little further into a discussion about purposes and duties. But this commission is unique in terms of what those purposes are. And by April of 2021, because of a lot of research, a lot of conversations, quite frankly, with people from the Department of Justice, you had a public hearing. I don't know if you recall all of the wonderful conversations that you had, all of the input, all of the questions that were asked, all of the comments offered by the public. But after quite a bit of input, we finally came up with an ordinance. We went through all of the formal protocols, and there was a unanimous vote in favor of an ordinance that created this commission. You wanted an ordinance-based commission. Specifically, you wanted something that was going to be a living body that would continue throughout the years, that was ordinance-based, that would inform new commissioners, even in the future, as to how they would go about doing their work. And you unanimously adopted that ordinance on April 19th of 2021. And then from July through October of this year, We issued various calls to serve. Some of you had information on your Facebook pages. I know that all of you were out there talking about the commission throughout the community. We posted publicly applications, and we did get a good response to those applications. And finally, there we go. Let's see. Finally, we were able to come up with a set of recommended appointees who are going to do the work. But what is the work? Before we go into the list of appointees, I want to talk a little more about the work that they're going to do. There are 3 key themes. I'm not going to read through this in detail. I don't like it when people read PowerPoints, and I am not going to do that to you, but I will give you 3 key themes. Number 1, very important, we are asking our commissioners to engage in astute and genuine bridge building. This is not easy. Not only do they have to search their own hearts as they work on this commission, they also have to teach others in the community how to work together. They are supposed to be building intergroup relationships amongst our Rocky Hill residents from diverse backgrounds and abilities. Very important, our commissioners are being called upon to navigate difficult conversations in emotionally charged situations. So they have to manage themselves and they have to manage others. We are asking our commissioners to help our community members learn how to navigate difficult conversations so that we can build these intergroup partnerships. And finally, and I think most difficult of all, they have to do this work based on data-driven information. This is a data-driven commission, data-driven decisions, data-driven action plans, data-driven work. So they aren't simply going to put up a list of things to do. These are folks who are going to be working with various groups that specialize in collecting data about Rocky Hill in particular. That is supposed to inform their work. That is supposed to help them determine what issues they work on and their priorities. So when they come to you, this is your advisory group. They will not just tell you, this is what I think we need to work on. They will be able to tell you, I think we should work on this. As a commission, we represent that we should work on this, and here's the data to back it up. Okay? So that you can have confidence that your commission is providing you with information that's relevant and that's impactful for Rocky Hill. Does that make sense so far? And that's not easy, once again. I think that a lot of preparation, a lot of reading is going to go into their work before they even come to the table to have conversations with you. And that's why I say that I believe our commissioners have a difficult job. It's going to be an endearing job. I think it's going to be something they're going to be very satisfied with, but it is not going to be easy. How will they go about doing this work? They're going to do this work by facilitating a system of community-wide education programs that are specifically designed to address the Commission's purposes. And they're also going to participate themselves in training and workshops. Some of the first trainings that we're offering actually begin this Friday. We're going to have a meet and greet. And we're going to invite Carrie Olson, town attorney, to the table. We're going to have Tom Hinnick, who is our Freedom of Information Act public officer, education officer. He's going to come and give a quick overview of the Freedom of Information Act and what's important about running a meeting, running public meetings, providing information to the public. Carrie is going to focus on ethics. And we're going to give them a quick overview of the municipality and its organization and its structure. So we're going to start off right away with making sure they have a good overview of the work they have to do through the lens of compliance issues, right? And then we're going to engage in workshops that get more to the heart of what their work is, navigating difficult conversations as an example. I am very pleased to say that the Department of Justice, a free service, and for those of you who know me and know how much I love training, I love the word free when it's associated with training, but when it's high quality training, it's even better. The Department of Justice is sending some of its specialists to work with our commissioners in the spring. They will hold a workshop, and those workshops focus specifically on how to help commissions like ours build relationships amongst diverse groups in our communities. Incredibly exciting. We are one of the few towns in Connecticut that's doing this. This group is actually working with CCM and some of the other diversity organizations and projects, but we are one of the first towns to have them to come and work specifically with one of our groups. So that's something that's very exciting, and I can't wait to introduce that to our commissioners also. So you can only imagine how much training and preparation is going to go into this before they even get to their first meeting in January. But I think that they're chomping at the bit. I've already had conversations with our commissioners, and most of them have a response, something akin to, okay, so when do we actually get to sit down and start working, Dana? So the fact that they're going to have training and workshops before that is actually a great idea. Their first meeting, along with the other commissions, will occur in January, by the way. So selecting the people to do this work was no small feat. And I thank very much our town councilors who went about this effort. We used a process that's very similar to what we do with the search process for hiring employees for the town, by the way. The Department of Human Resources received all of the applications, and then, to ensure objectivity, names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses were redacted from applications, so that the counselors who were reviewing the applications focused specifically on what was in the four corners of the papers they would look at, and what each commissioner said that he or she wanted to bring to the table, so that we could make a determination as to how best that fit with what you said you wanted your commission to do as a town council. So it's important. I hope you understand that. Again, redactions were in place, and the applications were reviewed by town councilors who focused on the context and the substance of what each applicant put on their paper. And then finally, they made their selections. And with no further ado, actually, before I go on, do I have any questions before I start listing names? Is it okay that I ask?
Please.
No? Okay, here we go. In alphabetical order, Adora Cobb, Tom Kosker, Ron Cox, Aparna Ganeshan, Maria Librio, Rebecca Markowitz, Jillian Maynard, Stacy Moore, and Kevin Tuttle, who is actually with us this evening. Thank you very much.
Sure, Dana, before you step away, and again, I know that Mayor Murata was thrilled and that you assisted in the process right from the very beginning, Dana McGee, and our hats go off to you and the work that you did with the mayor.
Thank you.
And we'd be remiss without pointing attention to the other counselors that worked with you, Councilor Duff, Councilor Prakash. Councilor
Thank you.
Prakash, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I would definitely like to add, just a few words here. I'm thrilled to be part of the process of this commission, along with the mayor and Councilor Duff and Councilor Thurrow. Like you said, Deputy Mayor, this is a very important initiative for the mayor, and I know she's truly disappointed for not being here. And actually, in 2019, when we started talking about this, me and the mayor, it was more about having a forum within our town government to talk about human rights, disability matters, and veteran issues. But in 2020, it became even more clearer that we needed voices within our community, especially from the communities within our communities, right?
Right.
And I think that was a big, push towards getting this rolling. And, tonight, thanks to all your hard work, Dana McGee here, and, who really took this upon yourself, and you ran with it and helped us, all of us here, to put this really amazing team together, if you will, right? Team of commissioners who are truly representatives of our community. So thank you for doing a great job on that. And lastly, on behalf of the mayor, like I said, she actually sent me a statement. So I would like to read her statement in full, just for the record. So now I'm quoting. I wish to congratulate and welcome everyone, our commissioners, our council, and the public on our new journey together. From this moment, we are committing to one another our attention, our hearts, and our minds to ensuring Rocky Hill isn't just a place to live, work, and play, but rather it is a place we are all proud to call home. Each one of the new commissioners has a unique story to share and has shown a desire to listen and to learn from others. Thank you for your willingness to do so and to serve. Unquote. Thank you.
Councilor Duff, would you like to add some comments?
Yeah, certainly I would. It's very gratifying. I know this was a matter of great interest for a long time. Certainly, there's all manner of activity going back last year, and there was a lot that people, didn't see. I think what you presented was really the tip of the iceberg. And I'd like to thank you for all your hard work. I know working very closely with the mayor on this, there were a lot of meetings and Zooms and that folks probably didn't see, but I know that you did a lot of research as well. And when we looked at some other programs in the past, sometimes we're looking to other towns to be the model, and maybe in this case, other towns in Connecticut will be looking to see, what do they do in Rocky Hill, and hopefully we'll have a lot of successful projects. Certainly, it's a good, it's not always a good sign when the Department of Justice is sending specialists to your town hall, but this case, I think we're going to be in a pretty good position and have a nice story to tell. One of the things I wanted to emphasize too is, I'm sure people remember 2020, a little bumpy year. And even last year, we had a municipal election that got tense at times. But an overriding factor of everybody who worked on this was to place the importance of the community discussion kind of ahead of everything else. We really tried, as you mentioned, make ordinance-based, data-driven, something that wasn't a normal political board. We went out of our way to introduce or look to give a platform to new voices and to have it to not be partisan by going through town hall with a blind application process instead of the town committees, because we really want to do something to create a forum where other folks who don't usually get to participate have that opportunity. So I'd like to thank you again for your work and everybody else who volunteered to be a commissioner. I also wanted to note that it's not just the commission doesn't just end with these exciting volunteers. If they're the only ones who work on this, it probably won't be a success because we need input from the whole town. So there will be opportunities for people to make their voice heard in a number of different ways, whether that's responding to a survey, if it's coming to an event, if it's serving as an expert or an alternate. I don't know that we have all those details worked out, but that was something that I do hope that people understand. This is really the beginning of an evolving process that should touch as many people as we can, because it doesn't end with folks in rooms having discussions. We have to get out there in the community and get that input from the bottom up. So I just want to, again, thank you for your work. And if there's anything else you wanted to add, maybe about opportunities that the public has to present, or what you envision that work looking like over the next year or so once everybody's up to speed, that would probably be great too, because I'm sure there are a lot of folks who are watching this and thinking, that sounds great, what do I do next? How do I help?
One of the things that we don't just anticipate, but we expect is for there to be several subcommittees. This commission is empowered to have its own subcommittees and advisory groups. This commission is also empowered to go and work with different vendors that specialize in data gathering and survey building. Surveys are a very, very careful tool, if used properly, to determine what are the real issues. You know, everybody thinks they know what the issues are, and that's usually very personal to yourself. We want to make sure that we are finding out what's relevant to the entire community. And so I think one of the first things that hopefully the commissioners will want to do is to make sure that we're gathering some relevant data initially. Thank you.
Dana, the committee will be giving reports regularly on the subcommittee list then?
Correct.
So it's a new addition to the subcommittee report every council
Absolutely,
meeting.
sir. Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just add something?
Sure, Councilor.
I was at the selection committee with Commissioner, sorry, my work, after 3 years, I think I'd get out of that habit, Councilor Prakash, and a very impressive group of individuals, and, you know, just reading through them, but we, you know, in the middle of a hot campaign, as we said, we were very, we were in a perfect agreement of who was selected, so it would, you know, we started the work and doing that, but I just wanted to congratulate all of the people because they're very impressive applications, and I think it's just going to be very successful.
Does our commissioner want to say something this evening? No?
Especially, I thought David did a wonderful job.
Very good.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Old business B, discussion possible action, American Rescue Plan, ARP funding options. John, help me out here.
No, what we've going to do is put this item on the old business agenda going forward. And if the council at some point during a meeting wanted to appropriate some of that ARP money to a specific project or function, that's available for that. So at this point, I'm not aware of anything. I'm not sure whether the council wanted to appropriate some of that funding towards something. But it's just a placekeeper so that down the road, if something does come up, you
Great.
don't have to go through the motion of adding,
adding
it
it,
to the
yeah.
agenda.
Mhm. Makes sense.
Just a kind of update, I did reach out to Mona on this to find out what the balance of unallocated funds were. We still have $844,000 from tranche 1 to allocate. So we have an opportunity to do some good things with that before tranche 2 comes into play.
Councilor Duff, affectionately called tranche.
I can't even say that word.
Tranche 1 and tranche 2. Great. All right, moving on to new business presentation. Gfoa Medallion for Excellence in Finance Reporting. Congratulations, John and Mona.
Yes, every year since Mona and I have been working here, we submit our June 30th CAFR, or financial report, to the Government Finance Officers Association for review to see if we get a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. And so far, we've been getting it on a yearly basis. As you can see, the wall up there, in the beginning, we used to get a nice so-called boxed plaque in. And then as things got tighter, I guess, at the GFOA, we started getting just a little disc. And they gave us a nice holder there that could hold 10 years of disc. So last week, we did get in the disc for the award for the June 30th, 2020. So to make a big deal out of this, we were going to go up and place the 2020 disc into that
Please
plaque
do.
that's sticking out. So before I lose it, I thought we'd do it that way. So you want to do it or
No,
not?
go right ahead.
Okay.
So if you're coming in to look at the awards for the finance department, look to the final exhibit to see the most recent year's medallions.
That's right.
Get them like this, and I give a nice write-up on what it's all about and so on. And that lasted until 2011. And then we got this nice marble picture, which allows us to put in 10. So we got 8, and this will make 9. And then we'll
think once a year we should get one of those like Boy Scout sashes, and you can put the badges on.
And then John should wear them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you know,
maybe Fall
walk
Fest.
around the town hall.
Yeah,
Highly decorated department.
At 8:30, if people want to walk by and take a look at it.
we should get a little ribbon to cut or something.
Will there be security to control the crowd for that?
Yeah, keep the line, you know.
We got these cameras, remember?
Doing autographs?
Nicely done, nicely done. New business B, acceptance of streets Hawthorne Circle and Wintergreen Meadow. Open space, 3.65 acres on the west side and 1.59 acres on the east side of Hawthorne Circle.
In your packet, there's a write-up from Kim Ritchie from the Planning and Zoning Commission that the development off of Brook Street, in which Hawthorne Circle and Wintergreen Meadow is, houses were developed off those roads. So the Planning and Zoning had accepted those roads, and the town is also picking up almost 5 acres of open space land there. You should have had in your packet a little map, or just plans that shows the road as well as where that open space is. Again, the Planning and Zoning Committee has accepted this, and now it's just a formality for the town council to accept it and transfer the responsibility for the roads and that open space to the town. It's been recommended by the staff as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So this is coming out of, is there a subcommittee that reviews this?
Planning and Zoning.
Planning and zoning?
Yep.
So you would like us to make a
Right. They had their meeting on the 17th of November,
of November?
and they approved
They approved it,
street acceptance and open space acceptance.
so
So that's
you
the
would
key.
like us to take a vote?
Yep.
Yep.
And then that makes it officially part of the town road system
Sure.
that we're responsible for.
So I would be looking for a motion from,
Sure, I'll make a motion for the acceptance of the streets of Hawthorne Circle and Wintergreen Meadow, as well as the open space of 3.65 acres on the west side and 1.59 acres on the east side of Hawthorne Circle.
And I'll second.
we have a second. Any discussion? Yes.
This is a quick question. Open space A and B, is that an area where people could park and picnic? I mean, is there any use to that? Or is it more of a retention or drainage for the site? I'm not sure the character of those spaces, like the benefit of the town from accepting it, or if we just have it, because it's not going to be maintained.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's available for any of those activities that you mentioned, but I think it's just part of probably the arrangement with the developer on how he was going to, or she was going to develop this land into the various lots and so on. And this is probably it looks like it might be, part of it might be in a wetland area. Mm-hmm. So the developers probably doesn't want to maintain it going forward, so they turn it over to the town. And probably being in a residential area, I don't think the residents would like to have a lot of activities going on in those areas, but that's just an observation.
I'll take Councilor Duff, you, okay. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. We will jump to the town manager's report.
Usually I have some time to organize my papers after going through the moving award-winning ceremony and then the acquisition of 5 acres of land to the town real estate. So if I find it. Okay, this weekend, the 11th, December 11th, Parks has a couple activities going on. That's Saturday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. They're going to do their Winter Wonderland. They're probably going to make some adjustments to the way it was done in the past, but it will be held here at the Rocky Hill Community Senior Center from, again, 11 to 1 p.m. Various items going on. I think there's going to be a virtual meeting with Santa Claus. They're going to maintain some social distancing for pictures with the Grinch. There's something related to gingerbread houses. It looks like the North Pole Fun, they're going to have some inflatable bounce houses and a penguin plunge slide, as well as, weather permitting, holiday carriage rides. So that's again at the Community Senior Center this Saturday from 11 to 1. And later that night, they're going to do the holiday drive-in movie. This year it's going to be The Grinch. I guess it was made in 2018. Again, that is at the high school faculty parking lot. So you can begin to arrive between 4:20 and 5 p.m. And the movie will start at 5, and I guess it's 2.5 hours. It goes to 7:30.
Grinch, do you have the Rotten Tomatoes rating for that, John?
No, not at the high school. We're very well behaved at the high school. And then there's a $10 per vehicle fee, and it's primarily for residents only. And there will be a hot chocolate station. So your Saturday's pretty well booked up now. Also, the new named Compass is out for December, describing all the events going on in the senior community center area, as well as human services helps and a number of other departments, the library and so on. So that's available. The town did meet up with the former, what was used to be called Pink Bag. Now it's called Simple Recycling, and how we're trying to get that service back where it allows people to discard unused clothes or even toys, maybe even I don't know about furniture, but and in the old days you used to put it in a pink bag and put it out the same day as you put out your recycling. They're changing a bit where the pink bag's gone. You have to put it into a bag, and then you call Simple Recycling, and they'll come out and pick it up. And we believe their number is 866-835-5068. Now, again, this is just starting off. We have been handing out the person we met from Pink Simply Recycling gave us some like door hangers. You guys are probably familiar with those after November, and which has the recycling process as well as that phone number. And they've been passing those out at the transfer station. So again, if people do want to try it, give that number a call and put your clothes out on your front stoop, and they'll come pick it up in a day or two. After getting the award for the June 30th, 2020, the auditors sent over the first draft copy of the June 30th, 2021 year-end audit report. So Mona's been working on that the past couple days, and we're going to be trying to get that back to the auditor so that it can go to print and we can get it distributed and so on by the deadline of December 30th. Also, the Finance Department received copies of a draft from our financial advisor relating to an official statement as we're trying to refund some of the debt that we issued about 5 or 6 years ago, so that we could perhaps get a lower rate of interest and so on, and reduce our debt service costs. So we're working on that this month. We'll be meeting with the finance advisor to prepare for a rating agency meeting sometime either at the end of this month or beginning of January. And then hopefully the process of selling those refunding bonds will take place in January and close by the end of the month. And hopefully we'll have a decent saving in our debt service related to that. One of the grants that the town got related to Elmridge Park was $400,000 to do some reviewing and so on, upgrading Elmridge Park. As far as we know, we completed all the paperwork, signed the document, and returned it to OPM, and we believe it's in the hands of the Attorney General. Once they sign off, then we can proceed. I believe Parks is lined up like a landscape architect to take a look at the property to make some suggestions.
John, was that the one that had the connectivity and the trails? I think Craig had talked about a couple different grants.
That's another grant.
That's a different. Which is this 400,000?
This is for the Elmridge Park itself.
Where's the master
Looking
plan?
at the land, especially the
Nothing
land next to
specific.
the property, the space next to the pool, going down to where I think the
In the field of the poor
hardly ever
drainage?
used skate park is, and that, and maybe other ideas, and then some of the money could help maybe with some of the drainage. I don't know whether some of the fields aren't really in good use in the springtime due to water situations. The next meeting on the 20th lined up the MDC to come in and give an update on the world according to the MDC with their budget presentation and other things associated with the Clean Water Act and so on. So they'll be in on the 20th. Probably be right after the Pledge of Allegiance. I did drop off a copy of what we believe is the subcommittee assignments for this year. If there's anything we missed, let me know, but that's for your records. And then I believe John Murphy sent a beta test to a few counselors associated with the app a week or two ago, and I believe a few of us have been trying it out and so on. It looks pretty good from what I could tell, and they're hoping to spin it out to the public probably sometime next week. I don't know if, Prakash, did you get a copy? Did you
Yes,
get a
yes,
look
I-
at it? Did you get a copy, John? So.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the committee that worked on it, I believe, got a copy of it, but it's pretty good. You can go right in and start watching some of these council meetings and so on, and subcommittees and so on. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, and I think the staff should be very proud of that. The IT staff, I mean.
Okay, and that's it for me, Ed.
Thank you, John.
You want to have some closing comments?
None. Wishing the mayor a quick recovery from her booster shot and looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.